Should you be getting a type rating in this market? Getting a type rating will take your career to new levels. I had to get a type rating when I started my career. Initially, it was very difficult to get a job because it was post-2001, a situation very similar to the end of the COVID. There was a lot of competition, lots of pilots were unemployed, and the only possibility for me was to initially get an instructor's rating. But even then, it was difficult to find an instructor's job, and impossible, in fact, to get paid. I was then given the opportunity to join a small airline through connections, and for that, I had to finance a type rating. This is the best decision I've ever made. Doing this set me apart from other candidates who didn't take the jump. It allowed me to have the privilege of discovering a complex machine, which was wonderful, and a few weeks later to finally get a job. I remember how it felt though, as I didn't want to get myself a type rating without the guarantee of a job, in which case I'd have gotten an A320 type rating and waited for an opportunity. The reality of it for me was a bit more complicated than that, because the company that got me my first job was based in Africa, in fact, and in the end, they didn't give me the job. I had a rock-solid promise, but it didn't materialize. It was a very difficult time for me, but very quickly thereafter, I got a second opportunity. Having the type rating made the difference and gave me that second opportunity with another carrier, and I soon was flying the Fokker 100. In those days, in my days, low-cost airlines hadn't been around for that long, and financing a type rating was a gray area. Many of us were hesitating about it, but we were in the same situation as you are now, in fact. Just a few years back, no one would finance a type rating, and it seemed like a large outlay with very little certainty, like maybe it is for you today, 20 years later. Getting your own type rating is, however, a much more common practice. In fact, 90% of you will have to pay for it one way or another. So why wait and waste months, if not years, of a pilot's income and the additional time delay of an upgrade potential, or taking the risk of getting hired at the end of a hiring wave and being stuck in the right-hand seat forever, or worse of all, getting discouraged and after 2 or 3 years of trying non-type rated selections, finally getting discouraged and giving up altogether. If you're just starting out, getting a type rating will set you apart significantly from all the other candidates. Now you will be part of a very small circle of people who have an Airbus 320, more than likely, or a Boeing 737 type rating. You could be invited at very short notice by airlines who are struggling to find pilots and get yourself a flying job within weeks. And if you've been stuck for a while, maybe because you graduated during COVID and haven't been invited for some reason, or you tried all the selections that don't require type rating and were not successful, this is your chance. This is how you get unstuck and get yourself that all-important jet time. The first few hundred hours that will make all the difference in your CV later on. In a growing market, lots of new airlines emerge. These airlines have training issues. They don't have the capacity to do a type rating for you, nor in some cases would it be financially viable for them. So if for any reason you failed a selection before, it could be because, sure, you didn't know everything that we teach in advanced interview course and didn't do a fantastic performance at the interview, but it could also be just because there was too much competition amongst non-type rated pilots. In this context, of course, airlines have so many applications that they become very demanding. Having the type rating will make the competition much less, and airlines, especially for smaller ones, will be much less demanding. And this could be all you need to jumpstart your career and get, as I previously said, your first few hundred hours, the 500 hours, the 1,000 hours that you need to reapply for larger airlines that will really get your career going and give you job security. And now, because you will have knowledge of the job with these few hundred hours, knowledge of the operations, you will be a completely different candidate, able now to succeed at just about every selection, even that of major airlines, with much more poise. So this type rating will do wonders for you, and I personally don't know any single pilot who's financed a type rating and not found a job eventually. Maybe it will take a few months instead of a few weeks. I would say at the most it will take a year and you'll finally have access to that cockpit. So now, is this 20 or 25,000 euro investment worth it compared to wasting the whole 70 or 100,000 euros that you've invested in your initial training? That's for you to see. But in my view, it is definitely a good investment, especially in this market. Now, you're going to tell me, well, yes, but I've got no guarantee of a job. The thing is, if you don't invest in a type rating, how many opportunities are you going to get to join an airline that doesn't require for you to have one? How much more competition are you going to have to constantly face? How many years of salary and seniority are you going to waste? And after a while, you also risk, like I said before, discouragement, which is the worst thing that can happen to you. So in my mind, getting a type rating in this market is just like it was for me so many years ago, and for so many others since, a good calculation. Now, of course, maybe you don't have the money. Try and save it as quickly as you can. And remember, in any case, you're going to have to pay for it anyway, even if it's through a salary deduction. Now, the great advantage of having your type rating prepaid that you finance yourself is that after that, you don't owe anything to anyone. And you can leave an employer on your own terms when you decide, when you get into a better airline. I've got a friend who just got hired by Eurowings, and he had a type rating which allowed him to apply for Eurowings and be successful at this great airline. But now he's got his chance with an even better, bigger airline. He's just a few months in, no problem. He will just resign when he gets successful, and he will not owe anything to Eurowings at all. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. That's morally nothing wrong with it at all. He can just leave whenever he wants. There's no complications, no nothing. And that's how you can take your career to new heights. Think of yourself first. In summary, I would say that if I were you, I would not wait and I would get myself a type rating right now. First of all, you're going to enjoy going in the sim and doing this type rating. It's nice. You finally get to fly a Cat D simulator, and it's a wonderful, wonderful time, the type rating. And you're going to see that after that, you're going to have lots of successful invitations. Your application forms will be successful. You're going to feel great. And it's just going to be about succeeding at your selections, which we're here to help you with. Maybe you'll take the advanced interview course to make sure you get that job. But at the end of the day, your dream will come true. And maybe in a few years, you'll be with a major carrier, for which, by the way, you should never delay a selection. My first airline went bust after 1 year, and I was hired by BA 9 months after joining, and never had a day without pay. But for my colleagues who stayed in their first airline and didn't apply for other jobs, it was more of a difficult transition. And at the end of the day, many of them took the first job they found because they needed to repay their loan, while I had applied to BA early, and therefore I wasn't subject to that, and I could have my career with a major airline, you see. So never waste an opportunity to apply for a major airline. At the end of the day, none of this would have happened without getting the type rating in the first place. Remaining very focused on my end goal and not delaying the opportunity of success by a single day. You know when the doors are open, but you never know when they'll close. And another tip, try and apply at the beginning of an application window, as towards the end, many of the positions may already be filled, even if it doesn't say so on the application form. I remain proactive and focused on my end goal of entering a major airline, and in the end, after much despair and much pain and suffering and hesitation and wondering whether in the end I would make it, well, it happened. And I hope it will be the same for you. Honestly, if you adopt the same recipes, I'm pretty sure you're going to get the same end result. So I hope that I convince you that if you really want it, you will make it, and that this type rating is key to getting your career going. In a growing market like it is, as I record this, it's particularly true. But even if the market slowed down, it would procure you opportunities you would never get otherwise. So now it's up to you to decide what's right for you. You can find details of our courses in the description. Connect with us on WhatsApp and Discord, where we have a Choose Your ATO section on top of a community where you can exchange with others on all airlines presently recruiting. And if this video was useful to you, don't hesitate to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. See you soon on Discord and inside Advanced Interview Course.